It's the start of the weekend, which is officially 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, which coincides, oh yes, with the Monster Magic Saturday show. Let's do this!
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Good morning, one and all. I do hope you are very well. The boat is listing a little bit, so I've tried to make sure it is all level on the camera. Fingers crossed that's the case. You're not all watching your screen at a slight wonk. But come on, enough about me and my technical issues. And I also set up without my glasses on, so big fingers crossed going on here. But come on, let's do some Monster Magic reviews. And first up, we have Palm Reader by David Alnwick. I think this might be David's first release. I certainly, he's flown under the radar with me for sure, but he does seem very well connected. In the tutorial, there are some pretty big names, and also this is a pretty smart trick that is being very, very successful. So hopefully he will be releasing more things soon. He also looks exactly how Noel Qualter wishes he did. In this trick, you show that you've got a little learn how to do palm reading card for beginners, and you ask your spectator to think of one of the characteristics, whether it be charisma, well, and then they tell you which lines on the palm of their hand you should be reading. You then ask them to hold out their hand and you show them which lines they're talking about, and you then give them a palm reading where you actually nail the characteristic that they were thinking of. There are some really wonderful things about this that make it quite special. The method, I'll get out of the way, probably isn't one of them, or the main underlying method. It is an old mathematical principle that's been around for donkeys. In magic it has, in maths it must have been around for thousands of years, and it's quite a popular one, certainly of late. Anything that you see usually with lists or multiple items that get separated out, and then you name the object or the thing that the person was thinking of, probably uses this system. The idea is how to hide that that's what you're doing. That is the big crutch of the matter. That is where a lot of these effects fail, or there's no justification for why they're reading these things or why they're separating them into two piles. David's thinking has absolutely obliterated any thought of what you're doing or any reason for using the card. That is what is so clever here. Let me show you the card, because that does pretty much everything and is the really clever thing amongst all the rest. So here you have, at the bottom here, you have a list of the future things that you might want to worry about, you know, your career and stuff like that. There's the map of the hand for the lines. That is actually true, apparently. When I say true, you know, it is palm reading after all, and that is the list that shows which lines represent which of these future, your fate, as it were. And that is great. So this is introduced as, you know, I've just picked this up, trying to get into palm reading. It's something I've always been interested in. And the idea that those are the things that you can tell them about themselves from your palm, those are the lines that count, and those are where the lines are on the hand. I mean, that makes complete sense for a beginner's guide to palm reading. And at the same time, you get to look at this card. So that eliminates all of the memory work that is sometimes involved in this. So you can actually, you've actually got a crib. You know what the answer is pretty early on. There is a small element of maths involved, but if you can add a few single digit numbers together, then you are fine. And the tutorial covers so much. But the other thing I really like about this is the plot. You are palm reading. You are telling someone about their future. You can get quite intimate holding someone's palm, and when you trace your finger along their lines, that really does build a connection with someone. But I wouldn't do that with Big Dave Downspoons, but you know what I mean. And people love hearing about themselves. They love having their future told, even if they know it's a load of hookum. It is a lot of fun to do. And the tutorial is 2 hours long. It doesn't have to be 2 hours long by any means, because the method is done and dusted very quickly by David, who explains everything. He explains the premise and so on, all from his lovely garden shed. And he does that along with Tom Maloney, who has been using this card for a while as well. In fact, I actually used Tom's battered old card in the tutorial. And Tom explains that he isn't very good at maths. He isn't desperately good at, sorry Tom for saying this, desperately good at palm reading. It's not something he does. He's kind of interested in cold reading, but this really is a lot of fun, really powerful. You get a direct hit and you don't have to worry about the maths. There are lots and lots of tips that Tom does about how to do it. He says just don't rush it. You've got plenty of time. You're reading the card, you're explaining stuff. There's no reason to panic and think you've got to do anything quickly or speed it up. And then there's a video chat with Jim Diamond, who's also been using this, and Jim has some lovely touches on how to involve more of the audience to make sure everyone is in on it, so you're not just isolating the one person. And then finally he talks to the great Scott Creasy, who performs it on David, and he knocks it out of the ballpark. He shows just how brilliant you can be when just talking about someone's palm. He is a real natural at making up all of those sort of Barnum statements, and he makes it seem so much like a real palm reading. You can actually see that David's getting quite into it. It is what you want it to be, I suppose. If you really want to make this as good as it is, I would suggest looking up some Barnum statements. I would suggest maybe just getting on some palm reading websites to get the lingo. But it's so easy to do and so much fun to do. I'm a great lover of telling people tool stories, of just reeling them in as you're talking about it, and then you obviously nail that they were thinking of creativity, and you can give them a positive reading on that at the same time. It is, to me, probably the best use of this method I've ever seen. Everything is justified, motivated. The hook is absolutely brilliant. Even just giving someone a palm read is a lot of fun to actually nail what they're thinking of at the end. So it's a great combination of palm reading and mentalism at the same time. It's so easy. Just slip that in your wallet. It's an everyday carry if someone asks you to show something, or if you just want to build a connection with someone you've performed with, or if you just want an easy introduction to a group of people. It is a really versatile thing to do. And the fact that David has bothered to do those interviews with those other people and get their experience of the trick and their tips and their nuances just adds even more value. I've actually forgotten how much it is, but that is Palm Reader Magic Trick by David Alnwick. It's a bargain. And first up, we have the Colourful Box by Didier Clement. In this trick, you show that you have a lovely wooden box display stand with 5 coloured paddles on it. You ask your participant to remove each panel one at a time, keeping them in order. You then so you've got some cards, you lay them out, and the person lays the paddles down next to them in the order they picked them up. And when you turn them over, they match. It is, of course, a take on the classic mentalism routine of a colour match, basically, where you can predict which colours have been chosen. There are lots and lots of ways of doing that now. A lot of them are electronic. This doesn't involve anything like that. It is a purely mechanical method. Not the most original of methods, it has to be said. There are similar ideas out there. They don't all look quite as beautiful or as quirky as this. This definitely has the TCC feel for it. So this is all wood. You can show the back as well. It's nice little sort of patterned on the back, nice engraving on the front, and these are the paddles. What happens is though, so a little bit of a problem is that because of this being wood and the natural material, these have got a little bit stiff. They are fine, and your person can pick them up. You can have this passed around just fine. So that, I think that's one advantage of this over a lot of the mechanical methods. This can be passed around. There's nothing really for anyone to see as they pick out each paddle. So that's if you're doing it for multiple people, obviously. And I think that is the way to go. The routine they show in the trailer where the person lines them up on their palm and then puts them down again, I'm not a big fan of. I'll come into more of that later. Yeah, so because it's natural wood, if it's in, you know, depending on the atmosphere that it's kept in and stored in, these can become a little stiff. So that one's a little bit stiff in that hole. It's probably easier in a different hole, but so you might find yourself just getting a little bit of fine sandpaper now and again, just to make sure they keep fitting. To be honest, perhaps wood isn't the best material for it, but it is the most attractive and I think more deceptive. The idea of gimmicking wood for me just takes it one step further than something that's injection molded. Let me show you the cards as well. So these are nice. There's something really sort of quite beautiful about their simplicity. I also like the fact they've got the hand there at the bottom. I think that's really, really nice. They're just plain on the back. They're not marked or anything clever like that. The issue that I have with this is actually just the routine that they show or that they teach, the main routine that they teach, where you have one person pick these out, they put them down on the palm of the hand in the order that they picked them up. They then uncover them and put them down after you've dealt down your cards. There's just a lot going on there, which I don't particularly like. Plus you have to justify picking this box up when it's empty after they've done it, which is covered. It is sort of motivated. They do go through that, but for me it just grated a little bit. I think a much better routine would be to just hand this out, have this passed around 5 people. It can be less than 5 as long as the last few are removed, and have them each just pick one up, hold it in their hand. You then take it back, which justifies why you've got it in your hand. You can then just pick up the cards, put them down in front of everybody, or give them to them, and they can just raise them up and show that you have nailed it. For me, that is a much better way of doing it. Now, you are getting a peek at some point, pretty much when you're holding the box, and it's a peek where you are going to have to remember the order of the colours. You don't want to dwell on it too long, so that takes a little bit of practice. The peak is very, very easy to get, and you know, yep, justified. What you want to do is to remember the lines that you're going to be saying whilst you're getting your peak, and then you'll be fine. Where you're looking is justified and motivated for a brief moment, but you don't want to dwell too long. Like all peaks, if you start staring or keep going back to it, you're going to give the game away. I do really like the build quality is exceptional. I really like the aesthetic. I love how innocent it is. I love that I can hand this out and have people pick it up. I love it's really, really tactile. There's a lot of good about this. It's a shame these couldn't be Sharpies or marker pens. I think that might spoil the look of it a little bit and the charm of it, but it might have made it more versatile. I think TCC would be treading on too many toes if they did that, and it's got its own unique feel about it in this way. It just doesn't make it quite as versatile if you wanted to do the picture colouring match or anything like that. That is the Colourful Box by Didier Clement, $59.99. Next up, we've got a couple of TCC accessories, which I'm going to do together. And the first one is the top leather packet wallet. This is basically a little thing that I had an idea of doing, to be honest, of making a packet trick wallet that's actually really, really nice. Rather than we sort of obsessed with the idea of having a packet wallet, it's got to be leather, it's got to look professional, but we don't really want to pay very much, and we want it to sort of fly under the radar. This one is different. It's got this lovely, beautiful grain on it, reminiscent of those top leather workers, the sort of thing you might find in a Mont Blanc boutique. Even the logo, the TCC logo down there, sort of hints a little bit of Mont Blanc to me. Inside, this is the version 2.0, I believe it's called. There is a 1.0. No, neither are better than the other. The one has a solid window. This is the cutouts, which makes it slightly easier to remove your packet tricks. It's just 2 packet tricks you can fit in there. And it's just nicer. It just feels great. It gives you a little bit of pride as well. I mean, there's no real justification. So a normal packet trick is £10, I would say. This one is £20. It's pure vanity and joy, and really just spending your money for the fun of it, I guess. It would, of course, make a wonderful Christmas present or birthday present for your magic friends too. I don't know what it says about me, but I've nabbed a couple for myself. I think they're terrific. They do also do the accordion big packet trick holder in this leather, and the Z-fold wallet as well. And I think there's no harm in having like the Z-fold wallet, which I know is gimmicked, look lovely. Why not? Why can't people just say that's a really nice wallet? It is great idea. And let's face it, they're still affordable. And now we come on to something else that I'm really, really excited about. It is the Super Sponge mat. I got these in, it was a request for someone, so you're gonna have to get it out. Getting this in and out of this bag is a bit of a nightmare. So here it is. It's got 2 sides to it. The orange is actually the bottom, and here is the black. I think they could be interchangeable, to be honest. I've only ever used the back side of it. But what you have here is, you know, with mats, even the neoprene ones and things like that, you've still got to be careful not to put something too heavy on them, because they'll leave a ring. Sometimes they can get folded. Sometimes they can get damaged. I'm telling you, when these arrive from TCC, they use these as the packing material around everything else. This mat, it works absolutely brilliantly for cards. It works a treat, but you just don't have to care about it. You can literally fold it and screw it up, and you have your perfect mat still. I can even accidentally sit on it for a while, and lo and behold, you've got a perfect mat still. You can just cram it in your bag. You can fold it up, cram it in your rucksack when you're going to your club or your meeting, and boom, you've got it there. It is such a simple idea, such a brilliant idea. And, you know, I love the colour contrast. I love using the orange, love using the yellow. Yeah, I mean, again, this has flown over the radar. I think it is an amazing accessory. You know, it's just an easy, carefree mat to carry around. And I really hope that they bring out another size, one slightly smaller, so that I can just sling it in my jacket pocket when I'm gigging or got a wet table or need a card surface, and I can just pull it out and throw it down. It is amazing. That is the top leather packet trick wallet, just $14.99, and the Super Sponge mat, which is $29.99. Next up, it is the Iarvel Pad Pro. This is the follow-up. If you remember, last year there was the Iarvel Pad little wooden clipboard, came out, massive hit. They have now upgraded it. You know it's upgraded because it's called Pro. Simple idea is that you give your participant a piece of paper on a clipboard, hand them a pen, and they can draw or they can write anything that they like, and you can then define it or reveal it in any way that you like. This is the max side version, so this is the stage version. There is the standard version, which is half the size, the A5, the same as the old one. Let me show you what you get in here. You get some spare nibs, you get the pen. This tends to be the thing that people worry about more than anything else, I've discovered. For me, it just looks like a pen. It's a nice pen. It's the sort of pen, it's what I said about the post-it notes. It's a nice pen to give someone. Why give them a chewed Bic when you can give them a nice pen? This doesn't need charging or anything like that, but it has got something in it that you need, so it has to be this pen. But you know, it's a plain black pen. There's nothing for me suspicious about it at all. You get your charging cable and you get the pad, and in this case it just looks like a plain black plastic clipboard. It looks so completely innocent. We are always obsessed with our props looking exactly like what they're meant to be. So I think the point where we get over the top with it, I mean, there's no reason why you give someone this, they're going to think it is a clipboard. That's what they're going to think. They're not going to think, oh, I wonder if it's gimmicked in some strange way. That's not how people think. If you handed someone a brick, they're going to think you've handed them a brick. They don't go checking a brick. If you give someone a deck of cards, they don't go around searching if they're marked, do they? They don't go making sure that the Queen of Spades is in there or there's only one of them, you know. So don't worry too much about it. But this is actually perfect. There's just nothing to see. Actually, I won't tell you where the charging port is hidden, but it's super clever, and no one's going to find it and no one's looking for it anyway. The only thing I will say is it's heavier perhaps than you might expect, but it'll fly by. And then you get some paper as well. You get like a whole pad of paper. There's nothing important about the paper at all. So if you want to, you know, draw a magic square on a plain piece of paper or use graph paper for some strange reason, anything will work on here. It doesn't have to be this paper. They've just given you a pad of paper, which is very kind and very generous. And that's really, I mean, prop wise, there is just literally nothing really to see. It is exactly all that it appears. And this connects to the Iarvel app, which if you haven't got that already, you can just download it onto your phone for free via the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, whatever that's called. So it's iOS, it's Android, and you can have a look at it. You can't connect to anything unless you've got the products, obviously. And this connects to your phone, it will connect to your Apple Watch, it will connect to both things at the same time as well. And if it does connect to both things at the same time, the settings are independent. The great thing about that app, I am in awe of that app. It is so intuitive how to change the settings. And there are so many settings you can do this. If you've got the old Iarvel one, you will know, but you can change the color it appears on, you can change the background of the screen, you can change the thickness of the ink, you can change the zoom, you can do it with multiple people, so you can actually decide whether or not it shows all of the people's ones on one screen, whether it gets rid of one and replaces it with another. Super clever. It is got so many settings. The 20-minute tutorial is pretty much just running through all of the options, but they're nice and intuitive to set up. What is also really clever is that it can connect to more than 2 devices at once, so not just showing things on your phone or your watch, but also if you've got one of the Iarvel watches, if someone writes the time down on this pad, it will connect to the watch and change the watch time as well. So you could get a reading of a place. So if someone wanted to write down New York Empire State Building at 12:15, the watch would instantly set itself to 12:15 and you've got a peek of the location. Super brilliant. So it just recognizes whether someone's writing down a time and just changes the watch to that. I think that adds a lot to this and makes it so versatile and so brilliant. I think not so long ago we would be paying twice as much for something that wasn't as sophisticated or as versatile as this. That is the Iarvel Pad Pro, either £186 or £223 for the max. And finally, we have Enigma Stick by TCC. This big hit at FISM, a very, very simple visual trick. You show that you have a wooden shackle and a little wooden stick, and you can pass the stick through the shackle into one of the holes, down into another hole. You can even pull it through the middle of the shackle, and then everything can be examined. It's a golden oldie that has been revitalized, re-envisioned, made beautifully, and made that little bit better, I think. Let me show you what you get. I can't show you everything that you get. There is a little secret something, but this is the shackle. It's got a nice finish on it. It's solid wood, and that is the thing. So there you go. So, and the routine is exactly as you see. This is what people will be left with and examined. You're completely clean at this point, but you are cheating, and that's what makes it so easy as well. When I say easy, it does take a little bit of practice to get smooth. The way they teach it on the tutorial is doing it slowly and then speeding up and speeding up, but he makes sure where all of the finger placements are and the finger placements are correct. I think it's better, you get slightly more cover if you do it on this second finger rather than your forefinger. That is my only tip. That's how he does it in the tutorial as well. I was very tempted to do it like that. It didn't provide quite as, I don't know, harder, more angly perhaps, only just, but this way at the right speed is just visually perfect. The illusion is tremendous. You are cheating though. They have made it easier. There is some little stuff in here. This stuff is on you, basically, just a little bit on one tiny part of you, which may or may not hazard you doing anything before this, but afterwards it's very easy to get rid of. So you can certainly do stuff afterwards, and setup wise it doesn't take very, very long. You don't have to use what they give you either. They do tell you some alternatives as well, so if you have any trouble getting hold of that, which should be fine to get them on Amazon, but you can use other stuff as well if you wish, and that stuff again is very easy to remove as well. But what is so lovely about this isn't the method, it is just the style of it. It's a bit like a puzzle, but it's demonstrating that you've got a skill at the same time, and it does look like magic. It's whether you're doing something clever or whether this is doing something clever, it looks like two solids are passing through each other, which is it's the walking through the wall of China, isn't it? It is just really, really strong, despite its simplicity. Well, because of its simplicity, in fact, and you can make it into a multi-phased routine, seemingly of increasing difficulty, whether you just go from one hole at a time, down to two holes at a time, down to through in the middle. So it does build as well. I think it is a wonderful effect that anyone can do. It is easy, just takes a little bit of practice, but there's nothing stopping anyone from doing it. Doesn't take up much pocket space if you just want to carry it around to show some people on the off chance, and it looks beautiful and it's completely examinable. Not only that, it is only $19.99. That is the Enigma Stick by TCC.
This show is awful, terrible, disgusting. See you next week, of course.
And that's it for this week's show, I'm afraid. But like I say, it is only the start of the weekend. So come on, throw off those bed covers, down that coffee, grab some magic, and go out there and have some fun with the best hobby in the world. Bye-bye.